Lex, let's go.
Action!
This is not makeup.
Wimp a set.
He's my baby.
I mean, I wear them regularly.
We have 3 contacts in each eye. A small one, then a yellow one, then another one to protect it. So that takes a little bit of time, and I'm the crying zombie. I was the wimp. Yeah, I'm a sensitive zombie, you know. They removed my brain, and that's where the scar and the stitches are, but they didn't remove my heart.
You guys realize how gross you look?
Oh yeah, we do. We've seen enough photos. We look in the mirror and
Action zombies! Zombies can go from now on either side of the camera.
That looks like a lot of zombies, don't you think?
You know, there's a lot of special effects in the show that some of them are quite complex to do. We try and do them in camera, whether it's flying somebody out of a frame or having zombies going round and round. We try and get it a lot in camera, but different shows have different needs, and some are much more technical than others.
Action.
I mean, today we're doing zombies walking over a bridge, zombies coming out of a hillside.
If you looked on the reverse of that, you're looking at the,
So you just
the
want
castle.
sky.
Just want sky.
I work with the director hand in hand on creating the effect that he's needed for his episode. So we'll start from a storyboard. I'll sit there with the storyboard artist, we'll look at the design, how we want to shoot it, get the director's input, and then from there we'll go onto the floor and start shooting the elements to create the effect.
The role for the storyboarder on the Lex is to create something of an administrative tool to help the different departments in working out whether it's going to be computer graphic or a prop. This is really just a bit of a blueprint that the different departments can finagle over how they want to pull something off. In this sequence, we're following a crew of 3 astronauts from a planet called Planet Potato, and they're the first astronauts to make their way through this electric storm.
The shot that we needed was of the Eagle 5 leaving the planet of Potato and zooming off into the great blue yonder. And we did that in the most rudimentary way. We mounted the model on a camera dolly, and we had a grip out there just pushing the thing by brute force. In this case, we outsourced the animation. They had to create the Potato planet, and they created the star field, which was tracked against the movement to match the movement of the pan, and then put the whole thing together.
Eagle 5, this is Mission Control. We're all green lights down here. Whenever you're ready, Captain.
This is an unusual series in terms of the workflow because of the amount of effects that we're dealing with. In terms of a percentage, it's almost on a feature level in terms of the amount of effects work in each show. So that's extra demanding as well, to actually turn it around in a short period of time. So the communication is really important, to have everybody working on the same page and have the same ideas and bring the ideas to fruition.
Hello.
We want to create pictures that are, you know, kind of like something you might find in a nightmare or a dream, and explore that territory.
I just sort of saw this, this girl kind of saying,
Are you gonna play in that silly old garden all day, or are you gonna play with me?
and she's gorgeous, and you think he wants to play with her. But then you just see heads.
And what the heck, it just seems so weird to have a field full of heads. Like, it's just such a bizarre vision. That was quite a shot, though. We did have 2,000 extras, and we had to bury them all individually, had to feed them all day. And it was quite a job of work. One day I think we should have used like heads, just like dummy heads or something, but that's another story. Actually, the way we did it was we only had 12 people actually buried, and we had a green screen propped up behind them that allowed us to then insert directly behind them other heads, and then we just cut and pasted the whole shot together just using the same heads.
That's kind of where our show lives. We're in there with the, you know, now why is it heads? Why is this guy, what's he doing with this garden full of kind of heads? And some things, you know, you kind of want the audience to kind of fill in exactly why. We're not really going to provide all the answers for that. But this guy has a sort of a garden full of heads, and that's what he's into.
This guy is growing heads. That's it. You want a head of cabbage? No, I just want a head.
I think the sets are actually built in a fantastic way. And that's something that we, the actors, definitely appreciate a lot, because it's so much easier to work in real sets than just shooting in front of green screen, which will be animated later.
This bridge that we're on now, as you can see, if you tilt the camera up, you can see that it's probably, what, 20 feet high or so.
Every time we work in front of green screen, it reminds me more of working on a theater stage.
Some players may fail to draw high ratings and will become permanent members of our studio audience.
With green screen and with special effects, you just, I think, learn more and more to rely on the, you know, people's judgment who are directing, or people's judgment who are directing the special effects.
We work with good directors, and the director, for the most part, for every scene, more interested in the character and how the character is reacting to a situation.
One of the things we reject, absolutely, is the idea that the future looks exactly like the 1920s vision of the future. The only thing I know about the future is that I don't know what it'll be like. So our take is just not the same take as everybody else's. We've created this organic insect world.
Paul had this sort of vague idea about a sort of a cutworm-like shape. He and I worked it into a seven-sided talon-like design. Now, we've used that over and over and over again. It reoccurred in Xenia Seberg's redesign of the Zev costume, in the cluster lizard. You see it in the pattern of the bridge. We've used those shapes and shells and so on throughout the series as a background pattern.
The writers are pushing us in wonderful ways, because we get to design something new for every episode. We go to a different planet, there's different spaceships, we have different creatures, characters of all sorts that we have to come up with wonderful settings for.
One of the things we try to do is no right angles. Try not to have right angles, you know, interesting, organic, you know. The look of Alien, you remember Alien? I mean, it just had that marvelous sort of bug, organic, kind of love that stuff. Bugs are cool. Bugs are cool. You got big bugs like the Lex, which is like dragonfly, and then little bugs like moths and stuff.
The Brunnen culture came to the light universe and conquered the insect civilization. And then they proceeded to domesticate insects. So they did what's very typical in the light universe, which is domesticate insects for technological purposes. Things like Kai's weapon presumably come from that same adaptation of insects. Very sensitive about close-ups and appearances in interviews and stuff like that. It likes to be cushioned inside the installation of the drama.
Did I miss?
This is the bridge of the Lex. This is the area, the room from which Stanley controls the Lex, tells the Lex, go here, do this, make food. How you feeling? What's that out there? Can we get away from it real soon, please?
They are anti-heroes, and absolutely the Lex is an anti-ship. You never get the Enterprise or any of these other things actually screwing up the works.
I think there's just something interesting about a dragonfly the size of Manhattan with basically the intelligence level of a dog that's capable of blowing up anything.
The Lex can be kind of frustrating because the Lex itself, it's partially organic. It has something that resembles a brain, and it's partially mechanical. The Lex is just really dumb. You have to be really specific about what you tell the Lex to do. What question you ask has to be absolutely precise.
Lex? Where are we?
We are in a big space, Stan.
He just doesn't get it, you know? Or he can't remember, or he went the wrong way, or he gets hungry and he has to go off and eat, and it doesn't matter what peril he drives him into.
Bleiben Sie dran, gleich geht's weiter mit dem Making of Next, die Serie.